After reselling phones and documenting my entire journey on this YouTube channel, kind of going over all of the tips that I've learned along the ways and how I managed to buy phones to resell, a lot of people have been asking me how much did I make within my first month of doing this side hustle. So in this video, I'm finally going to be revealing how much I made my first month as a phone reseller. And mind you, I had no prior experience in this side hustle before. I was never the type of person to go out there and resell any type of electronics. I was never an Apple geek, so I didn't know exactly how to check all of the devices that I was purchasing. And pretty much I just went out there and did it so that I could learn along the way. So now that I finally accomplished, reselling phones for a decent amount of time, I will be breaking down all of the profits, the most frequently sold devices that I would purchase, and the ones that actually sold for the most during the time that I was doing this, to kind of give you guys an idea of how much you could expect to make if you want to join this side hustle. Now, before I even go into the profits, I will tell you guys right now that the phone that sold the most was the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max. I don't know if it's because this phone was the first phone to have those circular cameras that aren't really on any other iPhones at that time, but for the most part, those phones used to sell the same moment I used to buy them. I used to go out there and purchase an 11 Pro Max, and the same moment that I would post it, I would get my DMs flooded with people throwing me offers. After I uploaded it for like $450, people would be offering $400, $420, and so on and so forth. So those phones right there were easily the best selling devices, and I think the reason behind this, like I said, is because of the cameras. If you look at all of the phones before the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro, you'll notice that all of them were kind of connected and they never had 3 cameras. When you look at the iPhone 11 Pro, it was the first camera to kind of start that whole trend, and I guess people just want a phone that kind of follows the trend without having to pay top dollar for it. So instead of buying an iPhone 13 Pro Max or buying an iPhone 14 Pro, a lot of people will just end up leaning towards buying an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro because they could buy it and it'll still look like the more expensive devices from a distance. So the iPhone 11 Pro Max is definitely one of the best devices to purchase. And another thing too with phone reselling that I learned along the way while making my profits and all this is that in order to make top dollar, you need to at least let people flood your DMs with a few offers. One thing that I used to do that I regretted a whole lot was I would purchase devices, I would have them up for the expected price that the phone should sell for so that people could send me offers, and it would still make me at least $50 profit. But one thing that I noticed is that if I would have gave time for other people to see the device instead of just taking the first offer that pops up because it was a profit, I would end up making double the profits for a lot of these phones that I will be showing the profits for in just a moment. I would post an iPhone 11 Pro Max for around $450 after purchasing it for $350, and then I'd get an offer for $400 after like a good hour or two after posting it. And the thing is, I'll be quick to accept this offer because I'm just looking to flip the device and make a profit really fast. But one thing that I should have done is gave other people time to send me offers too, because it turns out every time that I would be on the way to go drop these devices off, I would end up getting other offers from people who were interested, and they would be offering double the amount, which means that they'd actually be taking me up on the price that I had the phone listed for. So instead of selling the phone for $400 and making a $50 profit, I could have been making a $100 profit for a lot of these devices had I just waited. So now let's go ahead and get into the exact amount that I spent on all of these devices total. So if you guys look at the chart that I have up right now, you'll notice that in total, I spent $8,350 to purchase all of these phones in total. And obviously I didn't spend all that money at once. I would flip a few devices and reinvest the profits, and over time that would compound. So really that's how much money went through my hands the entire time that I was phone reselling for my first month. I started off with about $1,000, and I just kept compounding that money so that I could purchase more devices. And then by purchasing more devices and making my profits, obviously I could purchase more. And then in total, after doing all of this, I made $570 my first month. And the only reason that the profits were low was because I got robbed. As you guys could see right down there, it says that I lost $470 off of this 12 Pro because I met with some guy at night when I shouldn't have at a gas station, and he ended up speeding off with the phone that I was supposed to sell him. So he practically cut my profits in half, which was actually terrible at the time, but I'm over it now. So for the most part, if you guys look at the chart that I have posted right now, you'll notice that the first phone that I ever sold was an iPhone 11, and that phone made me a $50 profit, and that was the same day that I purchased it. I managed to sell it. I bought it for $250 and sold it for $300, and then we got the 11 Maxes that come back to back, and then another 11 afterwards, and I bought the 11 Max, the first one, for $400, sold it for $500 and made $100. That was also a same day sale. Then I went on to purchase another one for $420, and I sold this one for $450 because it had a few more scratches, so I only made a $30 profit off of that phone. But those phones I ended up purchasing the same day, which was actually really good. And then we have another 11 which I bought for $230, and as you can see, it says I sold it for $160. And the reason this happened is because I bought the phone with a clean IMEI, but after I sold the device about a week later, it got reported as lost or stolen, which means I potentially bought from somebody who either does insurance fraud or from somebody who actually stole the phone. So instead of actually like taking the phone back as a full refund, the guy actually wanted to keep the phone so that he could resell it, and then he wanted me to send him $60 so that he could just break even on his investment, since you could still sell a blacklisted phone for a decent amount, especially an iPhone 11. So that's what I did, and you know, obviously I took that offer because I didn't feel like having a second phone, especially if it's blacklisted, because there's really nothing I could do with it. So I took my $60 loss and went on. And we go on, and you'll notice that I bought an iPhone 8 Plus for $110. And this phone was actually a very good steal for the price that I bought it at. But the reason it says that I didn't sell it for anything and I ended up losing $30 was because I took somebody up on a trade for a designer backpack, and I was just planning on flipping the bag for a profit, but it turns out the bag didn't sell for as much as I would have wanted it to. So I ended up taking a $30 loss. It wasn't too big of a deal, but you know, I had to document that regardless. Then I bought an iPhone 12 for $350 and sold it for $440, which made me a $90 profit. An 11 Pro Max, like I told you guys, which is the best phone to purchase to resell, for $420, and then I sold it for $490, which made me $70. Then we went on to purchase a 10R for $150, sold it for $200, made $50. And then as you guys can see, there's a whole bunch of other phones that I bought and resold. But the most commonly sold phone, the phone that I purchased the most, was of course the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And looking at this in total, you'll notice that the profit ranges from around $50 to $100 on average. And I also bought this 112 Pro that I made $160 off of. And this is why I always tell you guys to market yourself on social media. This 12 Pro is obviously worth that price, but it's going to be a lot harder to sell it if you only plan on selling it to people who just want to negotiate. The reason I was able to sell that phone for a decent price was because I made a page that was kind of oriented around my whole phone reselling business, and I would purchase those phones and post them on that page before I post them on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace, so that people that I know could actually purchase those phones from me. By purchasing a phone from me, they're still getting a decent deal because the phone is still at a discount, and on top of that, they know that they could trust me because I'm a trustworthy person, so they don't have an issue buying from me. When I would post the phone up for sale and have my asking price up, they normally don't even care to negotiate because regardless, they know they're getting a good deal and they always have cash on hand ready to buy it. So that's why I made $160 off of that one phone. But funny thing is, right after I sold that phone, I was driving back home to go pick up another phone to go drop off, and I accidentally turned on a red light without yielding, and I got a $200 traffic ticket. So I practically didn't even make $160. Instead, I lost $40, which was absolutely terrible, but it is what it is. Then over here, you'll notice that I had a 13 Pro Max that I ended up selling for a $230 profit. And that phone was the highest profit that I ever made off of one device. And as you guys notice, when you start from the top of the screen and you start working your way down, you'll see that my profits kind of gradually increased and that my averages started to land more within the $50 to $100 range, and then it started to build up to just $100 to $150. And the reason for that is because my negotiation skills got a whole lot better, and I actually spoke about how I was able to negotiate phone prices extremely low so that I could make a much higher profit. And pretty much what I did was I learned all of the basic skills in order to bring a price down. One thing that I learned with phone reselling is that the number one way to bring a price down is to always find reasons why the phone isn't worth the value. You'll notice that a lot of phones that are used are always scratched up or beat down, and people are always just looking to get rid of these phones because they normally want to purchase a new one. So if you could just point out these things and show that you actually know what you're talking about, more times than not, people will actually take your offers. Normally these offers are $100 less than what they were asking for the device. So that's how I brought the prices down a whole lot, and there are a whole bunch more tips that I put in that video if you guys want to check it out. So I'll go ahead and put the little link at the top of the screen that you guys could click on to check it out. Those tips really helped me make a whole lot more profit, and towards the end of the month I made more money within the last few days than I had ever done within the first few days. But obviously I ended up getting robbed for that 12 Pro, and that kind of set me back a whole lot, and that's the only reason that my profit came to around $570. But if you guys are looking to get into the phone reselling business, I highly suggest purchasing as many iPhone 11 Pro Maxes or iPhone 11 Pros as possible, because people are really just looking for phones that have 3 cameras. They don't really care about which model it is as much as you'd expect, because all they're looking at is what other people could see, and as long as they have a phone that looks like the newest phone, they really could care less what model it is. And if you guys are reselling phones, I highly suggest making a social media page where you post the phones that you have for sale, because you're going to be getting a lot better offers from people that you know, as opposed to people who just want a cheap phone on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace. So make sure that you guys are taking time to market yourselves properly, because marketing is the best way to make money. And as long as you know that you could find a few reliable people every single month, either in your friend group or people that you just know from your friends, mutual connections or whatever they are, those people will easily pay a lot more, because more times than not, they don't even feel like negotiating. shipping. And like I was saying, they already know that they're getting a much better deal than if they were to go to an Apple store and try to purchase that same phone. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications if you have not already. And also go ahead and get $30 when you spend $30 with the Rakuten 10 app, which I will be linking down below in the description. But besides that, I hope you guys do have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.
See you, chump.